At the end of the last video, the question was, is Wikipedia a good and reliable source? And I know what you will say, Madame, of course it's the best source. All the information is there. It's always the first one that pops up on the Google search. The actual answer is yes and no. And I'm going to give you an example why. We're going to go take a look at the link that was at the bottom of the page. This is the Fats Domino link. Yes, it is in French. It's not important. I just want you to take a look. It is quite long. The point is, I wrote this article about over 10 years ago for a university project. It has not changed since I wrote it. So I keep using it as an excuse because clearly and obviously I am not an expert on Fats Domino. So, this was just for project purposes because this page was empty. I got most of my information. If you look at note et référence here, you'll notice Coleman 2007. And they're almost all written Coleman 2007 because I got most of my information from the book Rick Coleman, Blue Monday, Fats Domino, and the Lost Dawn of Rock and Roll. So all my references, all the information that I have on this page, every time that you see a little number next to it, I am referencing the book. I'm getting that information from the book. In my bibliography, you'll notice that there's just one more, and that's all the information I have, okay? So that's very limited information. Now, there are some Wikipedia pages that obviously have a lot more experts writing on it, but how do you know? How can you verify that? You don't. And that's why Wikipedia is not necessarily the best and most reliable source because you don't know who the author is and you don't know at what frequency the page gets changed. Sometimes that information is changed for the better and sometimes for the worse. There's pages like Donald Trump where Donald Trump will have people that he's paying to make sure that the information stays accurate. But there's other obvious subjects that don't have experts constantly checking that the information is correct. So for the most part, it is pretty good. I like to call the Wikipedia my starting point. If I don't know anything about a topic, that's where I'm going to start to get inspired. Also, if you do go in their bibliography, or lien externe, for example, you might be able to go get a lot more information on a reliable source. So that's a great, great starting point. But I should not see you citing Wikipedia in your project. Okay. Next, when you are researching, you should be paraphrasing what you read. What does paraphrasing mean? Well, it doesn't mean that you copy and paste information. You should never be constantly copying and pasting your information because then it's not your project. It's whatever source you took it from. It's their project. Okay. So you need to be able to put things into your word and you need to be able to cite where it comes from, even when it's in your words, or if you copy and paste short sentences and you need to tell me where it comes from. So it's harder to keep the main idea, formulating your words and avoiding plagiarism. So the best way you can do this is to write out key ideas or small phrases by hand to avoid the above, to avoid copying and pasting. When I normally do this project in class, you usually do note cards to force you to take down notes on a piece of paper. But since we're doing this online, you can just open a document. And one of the documents will be a draft document. So this is where you're going to do your research, okay? So heart disease draft. So this is where I'm just going to put my bibliography and my notes that I'm doing during the research. So if I look at my first source, I took it from the Canadian Encyclopedia. So at the top in the URL bar, I'm just going to copy and paste. I'm going to glue it here, or paste it here, I should say. Going to work for me. Oh, it doesn't want to do it for me. Come on. So just copy and paste it because you will need this website later on when you are doing your bibliography. And basically, so if it doesn't work, you guys do it. And then basically you read the information on the page here. So if I read, cardiovascular disease remains one of the leading causes of death for Canadians. It does not discriminate and affect both genders and all ethnicities. I would just have to write what I remember. Leading cause of death affects